end the
Yeah,
story.
that's the other question I wanted to ask. I mean, a story is supposed to reflect,
Yeah.
a reflection
Of society.
and
Yeah.
a refraction of reality,
Yeah.
as it were. And so when you borrow from the Z worlds,
Yeah.
when you adapt stories without acknowledgement,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're transplanting stories
Cultures which
from
are not
other
yeah,
culture
yeah.
into, so there's a kind of disequilibrium,
Yeah.
and that leads to a whole lot of problem. And of course, again, a professional would not want to do that. But there are instances too where there are complex stories, and that the audience, I'm talking about the story, the script writer,
Take
and
the
the
audience.
audience now. Let me give you an example. In Kule and Folayon's Ijobo,
Okay.
a story that is, what is it called? Is an allegory.
Yeah.
I've read reviews where some reviewers just see it literally as the story of these four kids who stumble on these, minerals,
Yeah.
and then of course accuse Afolayan, the producer of making a mess of it. Whereas the complexity is lost. So I guess what I'm saying is this. So do you think the level of the society, their sophistication, so to speak,
Permit you to write such.
permit you to write beautiful stories? I mean, I'm talking to you now as a script writer.
You are not permitted. Let me say it this way. You are not. You have to write. Sometimes you have to write for your audience.
Yeah.
If your story is not, if your message is not being gotten by the audience, then who are you writing for? Right? That is what they tell us.
Yeah.
But then, if your audience doesn't want to grow beyond a certain level,
Yeah.
and the world has moved way beyond that level, you keep boxing your mind into that restricted audience level. I don't know. Because sometimes, as a writer, you want to write, really want to write, be futuristic. But then our society as of now
Yeah.
is immediate.
Yeah.
We think of the immediate. When you start writing beyond what they can think about, when you start writing beyond what they have seen or nearly seen or can see, then they are lost. You get it? The audience, and they tell you, if you lose your audience, then you have no audience, then you have nothing. Right? So there's a big problem there. The problem here is that our own society for now cannot take some of these stories. Many people don't like watching American films, even as university undergraduates,
Graduates.
where I lecture. They would prefer to watch the ones,
Yeah.
the Mexican soaps,
Yeah.
because the stories are so ordinary. That makes sense.
Sentimental.
Yes, sentimental. We can
Melodramatic.
reason along with that. But because the American film sometimes starts the film from the end, you get it? Now takes way back to the
To the
beginning,
beginning.
they are lost. They can't fathom that. The American film, most of these adventure or science fiction films, or even the ordinary films, they are fiction films. Sometimes a story is going, takes you to the back, takes you to the future, returns you back to the present, and goes along. You can't write that for our audience here. It's you get them confused, right? And then okay, they show somebody who is young now, they show us his adulthood.
Yeah.
They take us back to when
Back to
he's
when
young,
you're
young
yeah.
again.
So
They are lost.
yeah.
They are lost. So the beauty of all of that is not is the writer can't do that successfully for now. Although I must praise the grand audience too, things are changing because now they are beginning to watch other channels due to the internet. Some are, like I said, it's what they have seen that they relate to. Now they are seeing these things, on these other channels, and so sometimes they can relate it to what our writers are now writing. But it's still advisable to not get too complex in writing your stories, or else you have no story. For instance, Funka Kennedy's new latest film
Yeah.
isn't complex. Not at all complex. It's a straightforward story.
Story.
It made its millions straight away. Sorry, that's a million now. Billion.
Billions. Yeah.
Right? Straight away. Because the audience can relate. Relate. Poor person, poor woman who wants to die, the children, out there to save her, they had to kill or whatever. See what happened to what do you call it? The one about Lagos. What's that film now? The one, the Gangs of Lagos.
Gangs of Lagos, yeah.
Was a political thing. The story was not direct. People did not see the story. They saw it as a cultural war. How can somebody say we are using the Eyo masquerade, for war? They didn't even see
It's a kind of symbolic,
thing about it.
Yeah.
You know,
like what Oshofi, it's like pretense. You're
Yes.
using that as a means of
of
your aim. Yeah.
No, they didn't see that. All they saw was somebody trying to bastardize our culture. This is a cultural war. You should have seen that the audience, you can't write what the audience cannot, or else they misinterpret everything and you end up having audience with your script. So that's just Gangs of Lagos, fantastic film. Story, fantastic. Loved it, everything. But how did the audience perceive the story?
Well, that is to the question of the critic. So our critic, I don't think there are, of course, how many professional critics
Yes,
do
we have out there? Yes.
Because they are, in terms of playing the roles, because they are supposed to set agenda for society in the Western world. When a show is going into the theater, critics, like people, they watch it and then the reviews would suggest, and it's actually the review that determines.
That sells,
But here, most of the reviews are just 1-2 paragraph stuff about, and then you begin to wonder whether the reviewers are actually educated. How much do they understand about the script? Because there's some very, very uncomplimentary reviews about on Ijogban, and even the Funkakundele thing that people love, that is obvious. There's some. I read a review of someone who just decided to be different and condemn these, and there's a lot of people who. So this is what I'm saying. So what's the role of the critic in Nigerian, the Nigerian movie scene?
Yes, the critic is seen as just a bad belly. Yeah. In our type of society here, once you start writing against something, and you don't pour accolades on it, you are seen as a mischievous person. And therefore, these days, the viewers don't bother themselves trying to educate the audience. They go for their own slice of cake. You see the person who is writing, who is doing this movie, drop your brown envelope, and I give a very fantastic review. So critics are bad belly people. I remember sometime I tried to write some things about Nollywood some times ago, and I think I remember the enough hits I got for trying to be objective. Because I believe that as an academic, one should just write it so that everybody should not just, like Yoruba would say, "Gbogbo àwọn lè sùn, ká kọ orí síbì kan náà." We can't all sleep and have our heads in the same direction. You see? But even at that, because I wasn't saying all that was beautiful about Nollywood, was like I was against Nollywood. Like I said, it's like because you couldn't enter the mainstream of the, that's why you are writing like this. So Kukuma, just keep your pen to yourself and stop. Because the more you do that, the more you're ostracizing yourself. So the critics are no more there. Those that dare to dare, you write something against something, it's like a swarm of bees descend on you. Boom, 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 and you yourself will lose focus. So the critic is there. We still have critics out there, I must say. We still have critics out there. Good ones. But
there are very few.
Very few. Very few. What you have here are just the, lap dancers who just sing the praise and praise and praise of whatever is on, whether good or bad. That's what we have now. So we have critics, but they are not there to be too over critical.
Yeah,
of
I mean, it's supposed to be evaluative, supposed to be
yes.
balanced,
No, but
but
our
then
society doesn't like
it's
it.
not there.
It's not there.
So another interesting thing is that um, the producer, the movie producer, I mean, there is a trend where you find some very good, find some very good, when you find some very good, uh, movies that are making attempt to correct certain things, certain ills in society. I happen to be interested in disability studies. I've seen films talking about different issues. Um, madness, how it's resolved, the albino, and a host of other things. But there is another area which is the empowerment of women.
Okay.
But most of these movies, except a few of them, they are just making an attempt. So at the level of research, I mean, you teach,
Yes.
so what do you think can be done to really help? I mean, as a script writer, because most of the scripts, what I discover is that they are not really well researched. Because again, the attempts to help understand certain things are there, but not quite.
Yes. When we talk about research in Nigeria, about research, the script writer most times is at the mercy of the producer for
How?
TV. I mean, for screen.
Screen.
The person comes and says, I need a script. Most times you have your script, but the producer has an idea. In Nigeria, because something trends, you know, I won't be surprised in the next few months, the storyline of Funke Akindede's, latest film will transcend at least 10 or 12 more films, or 20 or 30, 40 more films. This year, you might find out that the type of films that will flood our markets will have the theme of Funke Akindede's latest film.
Tribe called Judah.
Yes, Tribe Called Judah. That's what you'll be seeing. Rehashes of a Tribe Called Judah. So, the producer tells you, I want this type of script. You get it? As a screenwriter, a script writer, you are not given enough time to even research what you want to do. Because he says, I want this script in the next 2 weeks. He already booked for his cameraman. He's booked for the location. He doesn't have the script yet. He doesn't have, okay, we're going to shoot, we want to go and shoot in Asaba. It's the script writer has to find what you want to shoot in Asaba. It doesn't concern the producer. Find the script that I want to shoot in Asaba. Where do you have time for research? No time. That is why we say most times you find out that these stories are just rehashes. Don't get one story, just turn it around, make it what is available. But then there are still some good scripts. We mentioned the Kuna Funayos, yes, right now. The other one to the vulture thing, what do you call it? All those are very good scripts, right? With an attempt at research, right? When I say an attempt at research, because even when those Anikulapo, yes, that was research. But then, because of our society, there are so many angles to the same story. If you've heard people discuss Anikulapo and the near murder now of the tribal marks of the people on that set and how it was turned upside down, or is it the costuming? And when these things are done, you ask yourself, but people these things are very knowledge and all of that. But they are different. There are so many different how do I put it now? Thoughts about the same thing. And therefore, when you do a research, even when you've done a good research, is after you have written your script and it's produced, you realize that there was another totally different angle to the same story you just told. I get me. And when those people now come out and tell you why what you've done, you didn't fully research it, you want to ask yourself, is it true? I did a lot of research. I didn't get that angle until when it is now produced. Then that angle comes out. Then you realize that something was missing, truly. Right. So that doesn't mean that the script wasn't well researched. It was researched, but because of our multifarious, society thing, you might have just skipped, a part of that research, though not unintentionally.
Yeah, but then that's a cultural thing, which is
Yes.
but I guess the sense in which I'm talking about, even research, is like even the ordinary things.
Yeah.
There's a script, a movie, there is an hospital scene.
Okay.
What are the protocols of attending to a patient?
Yes, of his patient.
Because
yes.
this very ordinary thing needs to be right.
Right.
How do you, I mean, the set, what is the typical hospital scene? How does the doctor approach the patient? What kind of questions? The idea is that much as you wear,
The white,
the white,
and you know right, just they
and
put on
then they put
the
on the
stethoscope.
stethoscope,
Right, doctor.
and then you are a doctor. And then when the patient, you say, well, there's a stock phrase in Yoruba movies. We are doctors, we are just trying. It is God that
That
heals.
heals.
There is no way in which an hospital scene would occur that statement
Will not
will
come
not
in.
be, it's a cliche. So this is what I'm talking about. And the little things, the protocol. In fact, someone watching a movie, an hospital scene should be able to say everything about a typical hospital scene. So those details,
Yes.
I mean, does that occur at the script level
No, it's not
or
the
the
script
production
level.
level?
It's the production level, right? The script writer has written that, for instance, there's an accident.
Yeah,
The script writer describes the scene.
yeah,
Car comes,
yeah,
screeches, bam, hits
yeah,
the clinical, and then help, help is sought. That is what the
yeah.
script writer said. Now, to execute that is not the business of the director.
Director, yeah.
Now, in our society, it is believed that once there's an accident, you must rush the victim, pick up the victim, and carry the victim to the hospital.
Yeah.
It has been said over and over again.
And over.
Most people die because of the help they receive at accident points.
Yeah.
Because you miscarry them.
Yeah.
Someone has a broken bone,
Yeah,
or a broken rib. Yeah. The rib stabs the heart because the way you carry, some will even put the person across the shoulder
and start running.
wow, and start running. Someone who's just had an accident, blood all over, they flip them over and start running. Then they get there and say, Utiku. Not knowing that you are the one that really killed the person. Yeah. Whereas, in other societies, accidents happens, they leave them there. They condone the place until the ambulance comes around, the medics come around, and even have to
wear the protocol
observed
of strapping
them, of carrying them. You just don't carry someone. But if you don't do that in the Nigerian film, then you are a witch. Somebody has just been struck by a car, and you don't rush to that scene. You are a foolish director. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
How do you explain that there's an accident that you don't carry the person away from the scene immediately? Now, that's not the scriptwriter's problem. Yeah. The scriptwriter has done his own research. It's the research now of the director.
But then isn't it the problem, because this is what happens actually in reality?
Yes, that is it.
But then, could the script set an agenda? I mean, again, one critic said art actually can set agenda for reality.
Yes.
So if people start turning it around, if people start following the protocol, because honestly, the protocol is people, and an accident, everybody will rush there and carry, and they start crying and lamenting. But this is actually one of the things. Again, like you said, the writer can write, however beautiful.
Yes.
The execution now becomes the problem. Okay. What do you think is the future of this? Of script. Again, writing as a professor in this field, as a lecturer. Do you think there is hope? Do you have students who are interested more in that, or those who want to act?
Most people want to act. I must say that if you pick on 101 people lining up for the film academy, and you say, what do you want to do? They all want to act. It is when they are told, you don't have the talent, that they now find space in other areas. Many people don't believe that there's life outside the camera. Behind the camera. Everyone wants to be an actor. Everybody that I know of in my department, if you call 100 students right now and ask them, what do you want to become right now? Actor. Maybe some of them, director. Scriptwriter? No. They don't even know who is scriptwriter. But do you make money from scriptwriting? They don't even think so. Because our society believes in the glamour. Our companies give the ambassadorship
Yeah.
to the actors,
To the actors.
right? Because they are the face, people see. They forget that there's a director, there's a writer, the person who writes these beautiful scripts, right? Each time I talk about Yinka Ogo, beautiful script writer, fantastic script writer, a very good friend, fantastic. If Yinka Ogo is walking on the streets of Lagos today, how many people will recognize that this is Yinka Ogo? If it tells you rubbish there, you will slap his face because you don't even know who he is. But you know that this is the person who wrote Tinsel. Did not say this person wrote Tinsel. You look at him again. Huh? Thinking Tinsel. You look at him again. Eh? You now want to say, okay, maybe there's a person behind that head. Eh? So only, you know what I'm saying? People want instant fame. Our society believes in glamour, right? They want that fame. So who wants to be a script writer, for God's sake? You lock yourself and write scripts, write.
It's a
And put on.
lonely thing.
It's a lonely thing. No
Very
accolades
lonely.
for you.
I mean, I'm a
Okay, for
script writer.
instance,
I know what you're saying.
okay, we're talking about the script now.
Yeah.
Funke Akindele, a child
Yeah.
called
Yeah.
Judah. You say you always, now we are talking about it, you say
Yeah.
Funke Akindele. Who is mentioning the writer? Who wants to mention the writer? Who remembers, was there a writer? There was only Funke Akindele. Are you getting
I
me?
didn't even pay
You
attention
have to
to
pay
that. Yeah.
attention to who is the writer.
Of course, in her
You know?
case, she's even different because she's very multi-talented.
Yes.
I mean, she
She
writes. I
writes
mean,
and all that. Yes.
she's a jack
Of
of
nearly
all trade
everything.
who mastered
Yes.
everything.
You
But I
know,
understand what you're saying.
yes. So
Yeah.
nobody wants to reckon with the writer, except where, maybe companies particularly want something fantastic and recognize that, okay, who wrote things here? This is one guy. Okay, let's have it. Sometimes you are sought after because of the presence of your script. But the audience doesn't recognize who you are. And because we believe in instant fame and glamour and reward, the scriptwriter is an unknown person. Is unknown, except to the businessman who says, "Yeah, nah, come and write this story for me." That's all.
All right. So, what do you think? I mean, to cap it all, what do you think is the future of the script writer of script writing? In Nigeria. I mean, again, aspiring script writers. What kind of word of encouragement do you have for them?
Yes, the scriptwriter should just keep on writing. Thank God for technology now. Thank God for the so many outlets where your stories can be told. I think the script writing profession will only get bigger in Nigeria. I can say that, get bigger, because as there are more channels, more stories will be demanded, and more good script writers will be identified and encouraged. And so the script writer, the budding script writer,
Yeah.
should keep at his art, ensure that his research is well grounded when writing scripts, either historical or epic or whatever. You should be able to write scripts that will speak to the audience, speak to society, and speak to your conscience. I remember one time somebody came to me and said that she wants me to write something on the gay stuff. Of course, in society outside Nigeria, there's nothing wrong, with this kind of story. But in Nigeria here, where there's already a legislation against, anything gay, as a scriptwriter, even though nothing says I can't write it, already there's legislation that says you can't do this. So that why sometimes you have to, aside from your fantasy and all of that, this is where the environment you work with also, you must be guided so that you can excel within that society. So I can say that in Nigeria today, the scriptwriter is being gradually recognized, is gradually having a voice, and because the cost of production now is getting lower by the day. When I mean cost of production, you don't have to make a big film to tell your story. Even a 3-minute script, which you can shoot with your camera, with your phone, right? If
Like the skits.
Like the skits.
Yeah.
That's why you have many people are writing their scripts and getting their stories told. Once you can get your story on that small camera and it sells, well, good to you. So the scriptwriter, even when the big companies don't come for you, come for yourself and produce, your story. Get your story across there. And I'm telling you that when the stories are good, The Nigerian audience knows how to appreciate a good story. Whether they have good actors, I mean the A-class actors or not, the Nigerian society, the Nigerian audience recognizes a good story when they see one. That's it. So there is hope for the scriptwriter in Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.